Mr. Justin Devonshire, how are you today, sir?
I'm doing great. Excited to be here.
Good. Thank you very much for joining me. For anyone who doesn't know who you are, would you mind giving a brief explanation of who you are, where you've got to, and how you've got to where you are today?
I started off in the fitness industry a long time ago, must have been 12, 13, 14 years ago. I started off from martial arts, went into fitness. I was getting beaten up professionally in martial arts, so I wasn't good enough to go pro there. So I decided to go more into strength and conditioning and fitness training. Started training other martial artists and athletes in the UK. And then eventually transitioned into personal training and opened my first fitness boot camp around 10, 11 years ago. And after a time then I was working in a gym in the UK, and then I decided to kind of go freelance and work for myself, because probably like most guys here, I was, overworked, underpaid, underappreciated, and decided that the only way I could earn the money I wanted to earn, and also to have the creative expression I wanted, and do the programs I wanted and do it my way, I didn't see any other choice but to have to go out there and do it on my own. And at the time, I also had an invitation from my friends of my parents who lived in Cyprus, which is where I am right now in the eastern tip of Europe. And there's a big expat community out here. Everyone speaks English, so I thought I'd give it a try. Came over to Cyprus, and this is where I started off my my first fitness boot camp 10 years ago. This is my 11th year in Cyprus. And I proceeded to open up my boot camp, being fully qualified, an amazing trainer, capable of getting results with top athletes, and proceeded to get zero clients whatsoever for about 3 months and struggle because opening up a boot camp and putting a few posts on Facebook didn't work to fill me up, which was a big shot to my ego at the time. And so basically, long story short, then after struggling for a few months, trying all the things I thought were going to work to get me clients, slashing my fees, doing discounts, desperately chasing people. This was 10 years ago, so there wasn't Instagram or anything like that. We had Facebook and YouTube, and that was about it. And after a few months of struggling, got to the point where I was going to be evicted from my apartment because I was behind on rent, behind on electricity. And that's when I got to the point of, I have to sort this out and get the clients in, take control of this business, or I'm going to be asking my parents for an EasyJet flight back to the UK. I'm going back to live with them again. And so, you know how it is when you get to that, you're stuck between a rock and a hard place. That's when you wake up sometimes, and then you just put the fear aside and you get on with it. And I started learning about the marketing side of business, about sales, positioning myself, social media marketing, paid advertising, all the things we can talk about today. And I got my first boot camp open. And then just to jump along the timeline a little bit, I then opened my first semi-private studio. I filled that up very quickly. And I filled up my studio. And then what happened is I thought I had things dialed in. I thought, I've got my marketing dialed in. I know how to close. I thought that's going to be it. What happened was, though, I ended up building a job around myself. It wasn't really a business. I had a full-time job from 6 a.m. in the morning until 9 p.m. at night. No social life, money to spend, no time to spend it. A nice sports car, didn't have time to drive, sacrificed a lot of relationships, worked myself into oblivion, didn't keep my own fitness regime up. And then there was an illness in my family, and actually my mother was diagnosed with a brain tumor back in the UK. And that was when I had to literally up and leave overnight and indefinitely pause everything, refund all my clients that month, and head back to the UK to look after my parents. Now, fortunately, about a year later, my mother recovered. She had an operation. She got back on track. And then I decided I wanted to come back to Cyprus and I wanted to start over again. And this time I learned to not just learn about getting clients, but I wanted to learn how to grow an actual business that would never again depend on me doing everything, being the admin, the trainer, the salesperson, the marketing expert. And that's what I did. And, 3 years ago, I got into partnership then with another young personal trainer. We opened up a gym called the Transform Hub in Preston. And that was 3 years ago. And to this day now, we're just about to open our 7th location. Our 8th location is due open in January. And we've actually officially become a franchise now as well. So just goes to show that, the skills I learned back then about marketing and about business growth, it's allowed us now to kind of, be in a position I never dreamt I'd be in. I mean, if you asked me 10 years ago to take a holiday and let another trainer train my clients, I wouldn't have let you. I would have thought you were crazy. Now we've got, 8 gyms, 3 of which I haven't even been to yet because they were opened the last 6 months while I've been stranded here in Cyprus because of restrictions, obviously. And so, wherever you are right now, your potential is 100 times greater than you think it is. And again, at one point I couldn't take 2 weeks off. I wouldn't even give my clients to another trainer to do one workout with them. Now I've got 3 gyms with hundreds of clients I haven't even met. We've got employees in the gym, trainers we've hired I haven't even met. So it boggles my mind sometimes, but that's what the right skills, getting the right help, and mentoring with Carl and people like that. It's gonna accelerate your career and chop years off the time it takes to get to the level you want it to get to. So that's my story in a very quick nutshell.
No, it's great. And obviously, like, things that you've sort of missed out there, maybe you're being too humble to yourself, but you've obviously helped other coaches, gym owners do similar to you with your blueprint sort of process. So what's the sort of, is that still going now? What's the thought behind that?
Yeah.
And what sort of things do you teach other people?
Yeah, for at least the next 6 months, the plan is to kind of wind down we do some business mentorship. Plan is to wind that down by this year because, our gyms are just growing so much now, and, franchisees are coming in and they're paying us, £20,000 plus to get access to these systems and the mentoring we give. And, so we're having to kind of put all our emphasis on our franchisees now over the next 10 years. But for the rest of this year, at least, yeah, we work on a selective basis with certain boot camp or gym owners or online PTs. If they've got ambition and they're ready to, really learn what it takes and follow instructions and work hard. We have, one of the most proven and consistent mentorships in the world for Fit Pros, simply because unlike most people out there, there's a lot of people out there kind of teaching marketing and business coaching, but they don't have successful fitness businesses, or maybe they had a successful fitness business, 8 years ago. And what they teach today, they mean well, but what they teach today, a lot of it doesn't really work. Whereas, I just share with Fit Pros, I'm like, hey, this is what we're doing today in 7 gyms. This is what we're doing for our online fitness business. And so we get a much better success record compared to most of the industry because of that.
Yeah, that's great. So with regards to like sharing some insight, again, we sort of briefly spoke off air, as it were, and hopefully you can sort of give us some insight. So obviously, as you know, I've got a couple of groups, like this is going to be like faced over a couple of groups. So we've got people at different stages of their business. So if we sort of aim this at someone who's already a qualified personal trainer, they've started building up their business, maybe they're in a gym and they've got a bit of an online client base, and they've sort of hit a bit of a rut, which obviously unfortunately does happen to most people at some stage. We always like to have clients on tap, but sometimes the processes aren't always in place, or what we've actually got those clients in the first place, we don't always track how we've got them. It's just a case of chatting to 10 people, 3 people sign up, and when you or I might say to people, great, how did you get them? Well, I don't know, I just spoke to them. It's like, but there is a process in place, isn't there, even if you know it or not? So what's the sort of the starting place that you would say to anyone that comes to you and says, right, Justin, I need your help, I need to increase my client base, like if they were sort of where you were 10 years ago and they're at that stage of, losing their house or losing everything they've got, what's the one thing they need to go away and focus on first?
Cool. So, I would look at it, if more trainers just kind of looked at their own goals, the way they break it down for their own clients. The first thing you got to say is, specifically, what is your goal and why? If your goal is get more clients, that's just like your client's goal of lose more and more weight. If you just want to lose weight, you can just chop your arm off. There you go. You've lost weight. If you just want to get more clients, great. But why are you doing it? And you don't want to forget why you started. So the best thing to do is look at your location, whatever, if you're freelancing in the gym, if you have your own studio, whatever, and figure out what is my earning capacity in my current place. And because you're limited by that capacity, the first thing to do is look at your capacity, your member or client, recurring client capacity. And then you've got to calculate, if I was fully booked up in my current location with the number of clients I can actually work with on a realistic level, not working 24 hours a day, but, working on a nice level, based on what you're charging right now, would that actually still give you the income you want? It's a big issue a lot of trainers have is they're undercharging as a way to try and get more clients. They reduce their prices because that's all they know how to do, which causes a whole host of problems. But the main thing is, I've had some PTs who they have maybe space for 30 clients and they're only charging, 70 quid a month for their group session or whatever it might be. Now, if you times 30 by 70, the most you can earn is £2,100 a month. And they tell me their goal is to make $5,000 a month and put down money for a mortgage and to live in a nice house. And it's like, you can't do that within your existing parameters. So either you need to increase your prices, find a bigger location, or you're going to change something. So first of all, make sure you know exactly what your capacity is. If it's a lower capacity, you have to charge more money, and make sure that aligns with the goals you have for yourself. Otherwise, you're going to work hard, be fully booked, and still be broke. Yeah. And you don't want that to happen. So set your goals so you know what you're aiming for and why. Second of all, then, the next thing you want to do is like Carl just said, you've got to have a system in place. It's exactly the same as when you teach your clients. They don't just go to the gym or eat healthy when they feel like crap. The goal for your clients is to get into a routine of going to the gym daily and eating healthy all the time. And it's the same with your business. Most PTs make the mistake of they only do advertising when they need clients. And as soon as some clients come in, they take their foot off the marketing. And then they try and hold on to these clients as desperately as they can, which ironically pushes them away. And then when they do drop 5 or 10 clients, which could be a huge portion of your income, then they reactively go back onto Facebook and they need to get 10 clients in an hour. And then they wonder why nothing works. That's the same thing as your clients waiting till June the 1st and then coming to you and saying, I'm going on a holiday in a week. How do I drop a dress size and fit into my bikini in 5 days? And your answer would be, get a time machine, right? So don't fall into that trap either. All these traps we fall into, it's the same mistakes we chastise our own clients for, which is really ironic. So number 2, so that's my second thing. Advertise proactively. Advertise before you need clients. When you're getting fully booked, keep advertising. It's better to have a waiting list and then kind of deal with that, or expand or hire a trainer or do what you need to do to take those people on eventually, than to try and chase after clients reactively, because now you owe some bills. Yeah. And the third thing you've got to do then is, again, like Carl said, you've got to track your numbers. You've got to know, with all this work you're putting in, what am I doing? What's working? What's not working so I can fix it or kill it, and what is working so I can double down and put more time into that. And then, with all those things, you need a focused system that is super effective. You track the numbers and you do it proactively. And that's really the basis for putting a marketing system in place. So if you do that, you'll never be short of clients ever again. Your problem will just become, how do I deal with all these clients? And that's a good problem to have.
Oh yes, definitely. Like I said there, with the sort of making sure you're constantly advertising, constantly showing up, because you see it so many times, don't you? Especially like recently when the gyms have reopened, everyone's been sitting at home for the past year, like transferred their business online, and they're always sort of up to date with their marketing, their social media posts like every other day. And then as soon as the gyms reopened, they've gone back to the gym and they've not been on social media for like the past 3, 4, 5 weeks. So it's like if people sort of almost buying into you, then you disappear. It's like, oh, so like you said, it's sort of getting ahead of yourself. And that's why I think scheduling content on social media, which is so many platforms now, you can schedule content, but it's so important to have those systems in place or those days in place where you can do advertising and marketing, what we're obviously speaking about now, because you don't want to, like as Justin just said, you don't want to be at that point where 2 or 3 clients bugger off for the summer holidays, and then you need to go and chase 2 or 3 people that you've not even connected with for a good couple of months because you've not been active on social media. So you've got to sort of be seen to be in 2 or 3 different places at once, which people can find sort of quite, not intimidating was not the right word, sort of quite hard, but you've got to sort of make time for your business as well as working in your business.
Yeah.
So next step up is sort of, you know, they've got the advertising in place, they've got a few sort of systems going. What's your sort of go-to systems that you use or you tell your guys to use that is going to potentially keep those leads coming in and sort of just day-to-day running of your business?
So there's only 3 ways you can get clients. You have organic, what we call traffic, which, you know, traffic just means getting people to your website. If you have some kind of website or Facebook page or Messenger or whatever your kind of conversion mechanism is, that is less important right now. The point is you're bringing people to you that are interested in something you have to offer. So you can do that in an organic way, which is kind of like building your audience. You can do what we call endorsed traffic, which is borrowing an audience from someone else. For example, I mean, if anyone watching this decides to kind of follow my stuff and they want more help, that would be endorsed traffic, because I've come in front, you know, of Carl's audience here, right? And so it's like a shared recommendation. That could also go for like media appearances. If you get an article in the paper or the Daily Mail, that's endorsed because they already have an audience and they're highlighting you in front of that audience. And then finally, you've got paid traffic, which is when you just pay a platform like Facebook, Google, Instagram, YouTube. Could be even like you could pay a magazine, for example, pay for a newspaper advert, where you're paying a certain amount of money to get a certain response back. So you've got organic, which is building an audience. You've got endorsed, which is borrowing an audience, and you've got paid, which is buying an audience. Now, ironically, what's really strange is why so many PTs struggle is because 99% of teachers out there teach you to do these 3 things in the exact wrong order. So most people tell you you want to start with organic marketing. Then they say maybe you can do endorsed marketing. And then finally, once you've got that dialed in, you should do paid advertising. I can categorically tell you that that is absolutely nonsense, right? It is not. Maybe 15 years ago, but you know, tech and things have changed since then. And I really don't. I believe organic, while it has value, it is not what most people Fit Pro should be focusing on first, or not focusing as much of their time on as they are spending on it. In the same way that like rubbing sticks together to make a fire is also works. But since then, you know, we have electricity now. There are faster, more automated ways of doing things. So a lot of people teach you about organic methods, because it was kind of all there was years ago when maybe they ran a business. And second, it's because of this myth, this misperception that somehow organic is free marketing or it's cheaper. And it is not, because the amount of Fit Pros, and Carl, you'll know the same, right? The amount of Fit Pros that will waste hours every day organically posting around social media, either don't spend enough time on it or they spend too much time on it. And I was the same. You know, I spent hours hustling in the early days, kind of before Facebook ads were around. I was posting on Facebook, on, you know, YouTube, making YouTube videos, posting in Facebook groups. I would like message people. You could just direct message people on Facebook back then. And I would spend hours doing that. And then at the time I worked with a mentor, a guy in America who said, why don't you, there's these new things called sidebar Facebook ads. You can start for like £5 a day. And at the time that freaked me out, paying £5 a day. To me, and when you struggle in business, you've got to understand one thing I've learned from my own mistakes and all the thousands of pros I've mentored to like big success now. You usually struggle in business because you have a belief, like I did, that my money is worth more than my time. So we will protect our money, but we'll happily sacrifice our time. You won't spend if you put £5 on Facebook, it will send your Facebook post to 10,000 interested people. But we don't do that. And we decide to hustle and post 19 times a day, and maybe we'll reach 300 at best. You can't outwork a paid advert. And, again, when paid ads 20 years ago, if you had to get billboard ads and maybe Google ads were a lot more expensive, I could understand the argument. When you're starting out, you haven't got a lot of money to invest. But today, when you can get started on a Facebook ad for £5 a day, literally spend, £20 in a week. And if that gets you one client, I've got PTs. One of my clients, he started with me. He's a one-to-one PT in Scotland. He's never run Facebook ads before. His first day, he invested £50 and signed up one client. And he even messed up most of the funnel, right? But even with £50 and messing a lot of it up his first time, he still closed a client for £500. So it's literally a 10x cash ROI within 24 hours. And he didn't lift a finger, didn't post anything on Instagram, didn't make anything on Facebook, simply an advert, and sign up a client. And I said to him, all you're going to do is just do that every day. Do it once a week. £50 a week, close one client a week. You grow by 4 clients a month. He's going to grow by £2,000 recurring revenue a month just by doing that one thing. Yeah. So I really believe it. You should look into paid advertising. It might be scary at first and everything, but you just do the math. And, if you're willing to just break even to acquire a customer, and then you can hold that customer month on month. If you're in a boot camp, for example, and you charge £100 a month, say, what if I spent even £100 over a week or £10 a day for 10 days, and I walk away with just one customer? Just one. If you do everything wrong, you still get one customer, and then you'll make profit when that customer stays with you, when they refer their friends. And if you just do that, you're going to start being head and shoulders among the rest. And so I would also look at the other options too. I would also look at getting endorsed traffic, getting the local media, partner with local organizations or Facebook groups that can share your stuff as well. Because, hair salons and, coffee shops and things are great for that. And also, post organically too. There's no harm in practicing and finding your voice and doing all that. But don't select just one and disregard the other. You really want to be doing all three, because that's the way you're going to really create a surplus of leads. And again, you'll never go hungry ever again once you start doing that.
Yeah, no, definitely. And like you said, it's knowing how much a client is worth to you, because again, like you said, it's like, I'm very tight when it comes to Facebook ads. I must admit, if Carl, the other Carl that runs my Facebook ads, is listening to this, he'll be laughing, because I'm the sort of person that will throw an ad out just for a bit of fun and put like £1 a day on it. It's like, it won't go anywhere, but it's sort of just for fun. I like playing around with Facebook ads and stuff. And he's, oh no, you need to be doing like 10 quid a day at least. And, you get that return on investment. But you've got to understand, like Justin just said there, like how much is that client worth to you? So if one client is worth £100 and Facebook says, right, put £10 on it, it's that initial outlay of that £10, isn't it? That someone's like, but I might not get a client. But then, like you said there, but you probably will. Do you know what I mean? It's the return on investment. And what some people don't always understand, and I learned this from like my business mentor a couple of years back, is understanding what that client's value is to you. So like I said, if that client comes on and signs up to something for £100, on average over the last 2 or 3 years, how many times has someone signed up to something? They might stick around for 6 months. So that's £600. So again, as Justin said, if you were going to throw £60 at an advert and get one client that's going to earn you £600, that's a no-brainer, isn't it? Like if you were given that option, you'd be like, well, yeah, I'll give you £60 in exchange for 600. But again, when it comes to putting it in advertising, that's when people are like, oh no, I can advertise on Facebook for free. But again, going back to what you said a second ago, you can, but how many days, hours, what's your time difference that you're exchanging rather than that £60? If you like, I'd like to think that most people here value themselves at more than £10 an hour, but you could spend like an hour a day for 6 days a week, sort of not wasting your time, but like trying to get that reach up. And as Justin said, you might only reach 300 people. One Facebook ad could reach 3,000 people on your doorstep that have never seen or heard from you, whereas those 300 people might already be following you. So you're advertising to your same audience over and over again. And it's understanding that, isn't it? And again, I'll hands up, I'm a tight bugger sometimes, but you've got to sort of understand that you've got to, it's like pay to play, isn't it? And that's sort of
And you're on the right track. The thing is, as well, people get confused. Being tight is good with ads. I'm tight. I don't want to like spend money. Like, here's 500 quid, and then like maybe we'll make money, maybe we won't. We're not going to scale our business that way. You're going to be tight, but you got to draw a line, because a lot of fit pros say the same thing. There's a difference though between being tight or cautious and just being afraid. When a lot of people say like, oh, I'm just a bit tight. I don't want to spend too much. I'm trying to be lean and stuff. It's like, no, you're actually just scared to do it. I'm lean and very tight in our ads. And that's why, and what you're doing is actually the best way to do it. It's better if you want to get technical to take 5 adverts, make 5 different adverts, put £1 on each of them. You'll see on a very small scale, it might reach like 100 people, but you will see which one got the best response. And then you put your money into that one. That's actually what a lot of high-level ad campaign people do. So you're actually on the right track with that. Rather than go, drop £10 on one thing and hope it works. You guys can, you guys can get started on a couple of pounds a day. Test the water. So you're being frugal. You're being careful because you're watching the metrics. Same way you guys are pretty meticulous with your calorie counting. You're not tight on calories. You're just being cautious and careful because you're trying to be efficient. But there's a difference though between saying that and actually just being afraid to invest anything. And trainers are funny. We'll happily go and find the money to raise 20 grand to open a studio, but then we won't put 500 quid into marketing it and filling it with clients.
No.
And I know some people are probably listening to this and thinking, well, maybe they've got that fear about investing money because they've tried in the past and it hasn't worked. And that's important to know. You do need the right strategy. Ads on their own, all Facebook ads is an amplifier. They're just a microphone. They're going to send people to wherever you want to send them. If your website or if your offer or if your messenger conversations aren't effective though, then Facebook are just going to send people wherever you want them to go. Facebook is just, Facebook doesn't convert the customers for you. It just amplifies your message. If your message is rubbish, Facebook will happily take your money and amplify your rubbish message or your rubbish website. Facebook have no dog in the fight. So that's what you're going to be careful of is Facebook or any source of traffic is not a magic tool. It's not a magic tactic. You could put an advert in Men's Health magazine right now. It doesn't mean it's going to get you clients. Even if you paid £1,000 for it, it's not a magic trick. All it does is it puts a spotlight on you, sends people your way, but you also have to learn to, how to indoctrinate those prospects and how to, speak with them, how to convert them, give them the right offer. And of course, like you said, keep them long-term so you can make real ROI 6, 10, 15x over the year. And that way, over the long term, you're always making more and more money than your competitors.
Yeah, definitely. And like a couple of things you touched on there, it's got to be like the message has got to be clear, like who the message is for and stuff like that. So, it's not as easy as just throwing some money at Facebook, like you said, because if you don't set it at your certain demographic, you can target where someone lives, their age, their gender, You can't do it anymore, but you used to be able to do like by salary and stuff. Do you remember when you could do that?
Yeah.
If they're married, if they're single, you could sort of really hone it down. But now you can sort of do it on their interests, other pages they may be looking at, lookalike audiences off of the back of other campaigns like email marketing, etc. So there's a lot of metrics there. But like you said, the message has got to be clear. It's got to be almost foolproof as well, hasn't it? From them seeing, like being aware of you in the first instance, clicking your advert, but then taking them on that journey of what happens then. Do they fill out a form? Once they filled out that form, do they get an email? Does it book a call? It's not as simple, unfortunately, as just here's an advert, let's go like get some new clients. You've got to make sure that there's 5 or 6 bits in that journey that are all linked and there's no gaps in it, because it's like you said earlier, there's like a funnel in place. And like your guy that you used an example earlier, like his funnel had a few holes in it, but obviously his message initially was still attracting people. Like, yes, the book a call button might not have actually booked a call or something silly like that, but there's all these little bits and pieces, and that's what just said a second ago. If you test it, even if you do put a couple of pound on an ad and you run 3 or 4 different versions of it, one to book a call, one to send a message, one to sign up to something, then you can see which performs better and focus on that one. But like I said, is there any sort of hints and tips you can give to people, even going back a stage of like the awareness, like how have you found in the past the best way to get people's attention to get them into that sort of sales funnel?
Yeah. So the main difference comes depending if you're like a local owner or if you're an online PT. And if you're online, that means like I would say if you're like advertising nationally, for example, if you're targeting a big audience, that's going to be a bit more complicated. And what I would tell online, the easiest way to advertise is locally. And I even recommend my online guys. I have a lot of online guys who start and they get up to, 9, 10K a month in sales pretty quickly by actually saying, don't advertise the whole of the UK because you're going to be competing against Joe Wicks and all the rest of it. You're getting into whale territory there. But instead, just advertise locally in the same way. And this has actually been, especially this year with COVID, it's actually become even more successful for them because so many local people now are open and exploring online coaching. So all my online guys, I teach them to start local. And once they're doing like maybe 20, 30, 40K a month, then we look at more national campaigns. So for most people listening to this, I would say just target your local area. Even if you're an online coach, you're better off just targeting your local area because you'll build trust quicker. Whether you're online or in a gym or in a studio, doesn't really make a difference. Start locally with a smaller audience. And that way, we don't use any targeting options other than like their their age, their gender, and their radius from our facility, if you have a location. And so the best way we found though, and what I've been doing for like the last 7 years, to build 2 6-figure studios. My first studio, my semi-private one, I built, I sold it. I built a larger facility than a 4,000 square foot transformation center in 2015. I sold that to a partner as well. And then 3 years ago, started the hub with James. And what we've done through all these years, what I have found to be the simplest and most cost-effective way of running ads. And this is because, again, I'm like you, I'm cheap and tight and I'm a tech idiot. Like I barely know how to use an iPhone. So I need something to be simple and have a high ROI because I don't want to wait 3 months to make my money back. I want to make money same day or within 48 hours. And so the most simple, effective way we found to do that, and this is how we've scaled all our locations, and it's why I teach all the pros I work with, is the goal is to get the prospect. First of all, attract them with simply an offer, a coaching offer. Do not try and bait and switch them with content. Do not, I've never seen success offering a free recipe guide or, anything, or a video series or anything like that. Because if you do that, you are by nature, you're attracting information seekers. And our ideal customer is someone who has 19 diet books and has done all the information and is sick of it and says, no, I don't need more info. I need to hire a coach who's going to kick my ass and make me do this stuff. And a lot of fit pros who learn that method of like building up a list or an audience based on content, you attract a lot of people who they like your posts, they share your posts, they do everything apart from buy from you, which is the point of this. So all we do is we want to have high intent. And so our advert is like, hey, we're doing this offer for, X number of men or women in our area. And it doesn't matter what it is. It could be, we've had success with everything. It could be a 21-day belly blast. I've done a 21-day bikini body program. I've done a 4-week mansformation program. Right now, we have a lose 6 kilos in 6 weeks challenge. 4-week men's kickstart, 7-day kickstart new metabolism. Like, it doesn't matter. Just pick something that offers some kind of tangible result. Not free trial, not free workout, because not 3 workouts. Nobody wants a workout. Nobody wants a trial. They want a result. So promise them a tangible result that they'll get if they follow your advice. All right. So how good you are as a trainer. Your audience, right? It could be drop a dress size, lose a stone, lose 5 kilos, whatever it might be. Pick a time frame that you think is reasonable to get that outcome. Right? That's not going to rip anyone off, but it's legit time to get the result. And promote that on your Facebook ad. We're looking for 10 women in, Coventry or wherever you are who want to, drop a dress size and boost their confidence in the next 28 days. Right? That's pretty much the gist of the advert, right? That's what we're looking for, is we're letting them know this is an offer. Like, it's going to cost money. It's a service, right? It's for you if you're this person and you want this result. If you don't click this advert. Don't waste my money, right? I'm tight. Don't waste my money, right? So that's the first step. If most fit pros just did that first step and had the intention, were clear in their intentions, you'll get prospects who are clear intentions with you as well, and they become a lot more qualified. The next step then is, once you've attracted these people in from your advert, you need to get them on the phone as fast as possible, right? Don't use a call scheduler. Don't have them show their interest and book a call with you next Wednesday, right? They're interested now. By next Wednesday, they're not as emotional about it anymore. They've made rationalizations in their mind. Their friends have talked them out of it. And they're not gonna come and see you, right? Don't make them come even to your studio. You don't need to. We close over the phone. People don't come for a tour. If someone says, "Can I come and look at your facility?" I'll be like, "Well, why? What are you looking for?" Do you have kettlebells? And I'm like, "Well, sometimes we have kettlebells." If you were going to get heart surgery, you wouldn't ask the surgeon what scalpel he's going to use. You just trust the surgeon's going to get the job done, and you get the outcome you want, right?
Have a little show around the hospital first.
Yeah. So all you're going to do then is get them on the phone. So to do that, the key thing you want to be taking is their email address, of course, but also the phone number. The phone number is the most vital piece of information your campaigns need to be based around. And so if you run a Facebook ad, you're generating phone numbers. So people are saying like, "Hey, here's my number. Call me about this offer you're doing because I'm interested." You can then immediately start tracking what are you paying per phone number. So how much are you paying to get someone's phone number? Could be £2, £4, £5, £10 maybe. It'll vary from area to area. But let's say like most guys, you're paying £3 to get on average £3 to £5 to generate one phone number, right? And then let's say you spend £20 on Facebook and you get 4 phone numbers. And you call them all up, and maybe 2 of them pick up the phone the first time, and maybe 1 of them says yes and buys. And that's very simply how you've put £20 down, and you've sold a program, you can sell. We sell a 6-week large group challenge for £170 over the phone. Some of my guys, they charge even more than me. So you can easily charge £100 to £200 on the phone if you have a good sales process, a good sales script, and a good offer. If you haven't got a good offer, then doesn't matter how good your sales script is. But a good offer, you give a good service, good sales script, and you just get those phone numbers in. If you can generate 2 or 3 phone numbers a day, that's all it takes to make 1 sale a day. And That's what we have a motto in our, with my Fit Pros, like one sale a day keeps the debts away. And that's everyone's goal who works with me, is just get one sale a day. That's their first starting point. So if you can put 10, 20, even £30 a day into Facebook and make one sale of £100 back, that's all you have to focus on. Don't worry about scaling to 9 figures or all that, having a Lambo and all that stuff. Just focus on the basics. Again, like teach your clients, just get to the gym, do 10 push-ups a day, just do 2 kilometers on the bike. Like, that's it. And then you can get more advanced after that point. But that's it. Offer, phone numbers, aim to close one a day and see what that costs you. And again, even the worst case, if you're spending, and this never happens, but if it was worst case, you were spending £100 a day on Facebook and you just made one sale that day of £100, like, you can't lose at that point.
No.
And that would never happen, right? It would never that be that expensive. But that's just to show you can't really lose when you have the right system in place and you track your numbers. It'll change your life.
Yeah, definitely. And I think, like, even from like the other point of view, that yes, you're getting sales, but if you look at the numbers that you're reaching on Facebook, there's 300, 3,000, 30,000 people that have potentially seen your advert. So even if you're not making a sale every single day, there is people out there that are now more aware of you. And then when you target them again, because you can sort of kick and start that advert as and when needed, you're sort of going to be reaching similar people that might have already seen you. Or like you said earlier, if you sign up one person because your adverts attracted that person and they've signed up to be a client, that client can actually bring you 2 or 3 more people through word of mouth. So those aren't all obviously measured on Facebook. But then if you think about it, that one person is going to lead to 3 additional clients. So again, when you sign up one person the following week, that could potentially lead you to another 2 or 3 clients off of Facebook. So it's not always, again, some people might think, I spent £100 and I've earned £100. They may see that as like, oh, but like you said there, it's still, you've broke even. You still, it's not gone to waste. And like I said, that's going to lead to potentially that person spending another £300 or £400 with you when they become a repeat customer as well. So on face value, it's not always like you put in £100, you get £100 back. It's what comes of that additionally as well sometimes, isn't it?
So if you're not breaking even, if you're not making enough to break even, you have poor marketing. If you're only breaking even, you have a poor business and service. Because like you said, if you pay £100 and they give you £100 for the first 2, 3, 4 weeks, whatever, if people aren't staying with you, you have a service problem. Like, you're not that, maybe you've got to work on your training skills, right? But if you're not getting them results and giving a good experience, that's the only reason why you wouldn't be compounding that money and they wouldn't be just automatically bringing their friends.
Yeah, exactly. Because like I said, most people listen to this. If you think about back over the years, a lot of people's business comes from word of mouth, especially locally in gyms, studios, like face-to-face personal trainers. It's generally referrals, isn't it? So again, even if you've got that initial client from a Facebook ad, then there should be, like you said, retention plus referrals on top of that comes from that one customer on Facebook.
I want to mention one more thing as well. I want to kind of one more sacrificial lamb, to be a bit controversial, is one thing I was always taught by, again, well-meaning like marketing business coaches who I think just were of a previous age and not really operating things in this decade. I learned all the same things. Like, for example, it's okay to spend £200 to get a client. You'll make your money back in 4 months, which, yes, on paper makes sense, but at the same time, it's not very exciting. And cash flow wise doesn't actually work because you can't afford to wait that long. If you're spending that much to get a customer, most of us can't wait that long to receive the money back. We had to get to a point of making at least a 3 to 10x ROI on our ad spend that day, because that's the only way we're going to be actually able to, number one, reinvest a portion of that money back into the adverts to get 5 more leads tomorrow. So we're not starting all the time. But also you need a portion of that money to serve the customer, because if you start doing that and your customers start coming in rapidly, you're going to need to hire help, maybe work, book more session times. You're going to need to expand location, buy more equipment. You're going to have all these costs associated with getting all these customers. So, while in principle, yeah, the break even thing is good, but you do want to make that profit quickly, so that you can keep scaling it and not do it as a one-off thing and then turn your ads off for 2 months again and then lose all that momentum. And the other thing that I want to mention is a lot of trainers will still kind of hear this and say, well, yeah, but I do well from word of mouth. Maybe I do well with I get a couple of clients a week from organic. I get a couple of clients a week from word of mouth. So I'm not going to look at this paid advertising thing. And what I would argue there is that there's some things are effective, but not efficient. So even if you're super effective at organic marketing, like it works for you, like you're good at it because you've practiced or you have just the personality for it, and you get 2-3 clients a week, great. But is it efficient? As in, can you scale it? Or could it be done if you weren't the one doing it? I don't need to run my ads for my ads to keep scaling around 7 of our gyms. We only had to do it the first time. Then we handed over to an ads manager and said, hey, this advert I've got that has filled this one gym, can you just duplicate this and look after it for our other 7 gyms now? We haven't got to recreate the wheel. Same thing with organic. Like some trainers, they're doing okay with organic, but they're not going to scale to the level they want or as quickly as they want, because you can't. If you're getting 5 clients a week organically, great. How do you get 10 though? Do you make twice as good content? Like it's not scalable, even if it does work. And word of mouth is the same. Word of mouth is a great bonus. You should be getting it and tracking it, but it's not a marketing strategy, because you're just hoping your business grows. If we get 3 clients a week from word of mouth, great. How do I scale that to 6 a week? Do I make people say twice as good things about me? It does. It does not work like that. So these things are all, like I said, I'm not demonizing these things. They're important, but we've, for some reason, become reliant on them as like, these are going to grow my business. And look, if you have ambitions just to make, you just want to replace an income, make a couple of grand a month, then cool, you'll get by with these basic tools doing it yourself. But if you have aspirations of making like a 6-figure or even bigger business, or especially a business that can work without you having to be there every day, then it has to be 6 figures in order to pay for the staff and systems that you need. If you want to have a gym that works without you, or a PT online business that works without your input every day, it has to make more than 10K a month. So to get to that level, then you need more efficient systems, and paid advertising is the only way out of the 3 that you can actually build a business on. I know a lot of fitness millionaires, none of them got where they are through organic posting alone. None of them. And none of them would rely on it, because again, a lot of people made money with it back in the day. Facebook, and whoever's old enough will know that 6-7 years ago, Facebook was a very different animal. You could post anything and get 1 million likes. Instagram too. Those days now, as the paid ad platforms are more popular, the organic reach is just literally thrashed to 0. So a lot of guys who had a gym or a business 6 years ago are saying, hey, I made 7 figures and bought a Lambo because I did organic posting. Here's my strategy. It was nothing to do with their strategy. It was the fact that they got in at the right time. Timing is important in business strategy. And so you've got to take that in consideration and be very careful who you listen to when it comes to this advice. A lot of these people mean well, but either their information is outdated or it doesn't apply to our industry.
No.
So yeah, that's something you got to keep in mind as well.
Yeah, and that's like, the whole time you're saying that, I was saying in my head, don't go off on a rant about these idiot gurus, but it's, someone like yourself who's been doing this like long enough, who's got a track record, even on your Instagram, it's not like you've got 3,000, 4,000, 100,000 followers, but then you're sitting there thinking, I don't need that many followers because I know what I'm doing. But then the ones who have got all that, like you said, that like, oh, look at me, you can get to 100K followers, do what I did. But like you said, it's because they've been doing things a certain way from the olden days, as it were. But like you said, when they sell their program and they're like, oh, this is how you can get to a 10K month, people buy that because they think, oh my God, a 10K month for £2,000, that's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
But what they're selling is dated. We're not that person. You know, if it's Joe Blogg's famous influencer, they've got to that level because of who they are, not the systems that they've not even got in place. And like I said, it's the right time that they were doing it. Like I said, with organic, even hashtags are flipping so hit and miss. You know, one week you might get 2,000 impressions from a hashtag, next week you get 2 impressions. So even, like I said, the tools that were there on Facebook and Instagram, they're just stripping them all away.
Yeah.
Because if they see that you're trying to advertise a business, if you're not paying them, they're going to like hold you back massively. So it goes all the way back to what you said right at the beginning. You've got to have a strategy where you've got paid ads, organic, and sort of teaming up with other people, even things like this. Or if you're a personal trainer, do a live session with a physio, because physio's clients will need a personal trainer. A personal trainer's clients will need a physio at some point. So teaming up with people that you've probably already got in your network is going to be massive.
Let me give you guys a bonus, right? Here's how you holistically put all this together. Because when you do all 3 of them, all the effects are enhanced, right? So, you know, again, I would always start with paid as your base. That's the spine of your marketing, right? Because it's the fastest, it is the cheapest relative to your time and energy, right? Even like building relationships is going to take you a couple of hours a day, and I recommend it, but that can't be the key driver of your business. You've got to be generating leads. So I reckon you get started with paid advertising, take all the time and the money you would have wasted on other things, and just put it into like £3-4 a day on Facebook and crack the code of that. Once you're getting 2, 3, 4 phone numbers a day, that's enough to grow your business by 1 client a day. When that's working, then you start layering the other lead gen systems. The next thing I would do, I would then go from paid to endorsed. And you start going around some selective partners like schools, hair salons have been really good for us. Travel agents, not in the last 12 months, but before that, maybe this year will be good. Like anything, right? Schools are really good if they have, you know, if you target moms, sports teams, you know, anything like that where you can get in the community, women's groups, men's group, athletes groups, and you approach them. And now you can say, like, if you're putting £10 a day into a Facebook ad and it's reaching, I don't know, it's reaching just 10,000 local people, right? You can go to these companies now and go to the salon, for example, and let's say you're targeting women, right? And they're going to have a similar audience list to you. You can walk into that salon and say, hey, look, you know, I'm a local personal trainer. You know, I'm sure that we've got the same customers, or even better, ask your own clients, hey, which salons do you go to? Who can you give me a warm introduction to? They'll go, oh, my hairdresser, Millie, she's amazing. Cool. Can you connect me on Facebook? So I would love to like help give some value to her salon business. Yeah, great. They hook you up. They've got to speak to you because you were given a warm introduction through your client, Sally. You say, hey, Millie, yeah, Sally and the other girls are saying you're amazing. You're the best salon in town. We probably share a lot of clients. So I think it'd be cool if we helped and promote each other maybe. You know, what can I do for you? Do you have any offers right now? Any vouchers I can give out? Can I put you in front of my audience? I've got 10, 20, 30 women here. Also, you can tell them I run paid advertising and my adverts reach 10,000 people a day in the local area, 10,000 women a day. So, you know, if you'd like me to put any of your stuff in front of my client base, I'll happily do that for you guys. And they're like, whoa, amazing, right? Yeah, we've got this 10% off voucher or free blow dry, whatever. They'll have some rubbish offer. Feel free to teach them some of these strategies if you want to. So then you start building relationships because you're going in through a warm connection. You're using the social proof that you reach 10, 20,000 people a day through your advertising. And you're giving value to them. You're asking what you can do for them, right? And then once they say, yeah, I give my vouchers, then you can say, oh, cool. Is anybody here, like you or your hairdressers, would you like to get half off to work, you know, to come and do my sessions? You can do my 28-day program or whatever. I'm doing a 28-day drop a dress size program. I'll give you guys happily half price because if you like it when you get results, I'm sure all your clients are going to be asking you like how you look so good, and you just tell them about me. Could you do that? And I'll be like your fit body insurance policy essentially. Give it to them for free if you want to, or like 20 or 75% off, whatever gets these influencers in the door. This is what we called influencer marketing before Instagram came along,
God, yeah.
for the old people like me. And then once you've got that going, then you're at your Facebook ads. Not only are they getting you leads, but I think like Carl mentioned earlier, there are a lot of people that see your advert might not click your offer, but they will come back and look at your page. So when you start putting your organic content on the Facebook page around your advertising, your ads are bringing a lot of people back to that Facebook page who just want to check you out. And then they'll see that little video you made about 3 tips or whatever. And then you'll start seeing your organic posts are getting much bigger reach and engagement because they're piggybacking off all the traffic the paid ad is bringing to your page. You see how that works? And then what I would do is, if you see an organic post that somehow gets a good traction on Instagram or whatever, if you see a post that you make that seems to go really well, that gives you an idea. I should promote this as a paid advert. Because if my 300 audience really loved this post I made, I'm sure 10,000 local women would love it too. And you can run that advert alongside your offer advert, just as goodwill. Like Carl said, put £2 a day on it, just to reach a few hundred people a day, and it'll start getting viral. And as more people share it, more people are going to see the post than what you're paying for. Because if it gets any viral shares, you don't get charged for that. So this is how you start putting all these things together, and it really supercharges. It does your branding, it does your lead generation, helps you build relationships, boosts your organic content, gives you new content ideas, shows you which posts suck and you shouldn't make more of. And if you just do all this, really, when you got this going, it literally takes you 10 minutes a day to manage all of this. Then you can get back to doing what you should be doing, closing sales and helping your clients change their lives and getting all those referrals and retention we talked about. That's where you need to get your focus onto that.
Yeah, definitely. And that's the thing. And, you know, like you said, if you're asking your clients those questions of like, what hair salon do you go to? You might get 5 different answers. So what you've just said there, going in and having one conversation with the salon owner and then getting her staff on board, they're probably cutting like 4 or 5 people's hair a day. So they've got 5 people cutting 5 people's hair a day. It's 25 new customers a day that they're chatting to, but that's just in one salon. If you've got 4 or 5 salons doing something similar, and it's just one example, isn't it? Like you could do hair salons, barbers, the coffee shops, you know, whatever.
Clothes shops, bag shops, yeah, whatever your audience is. One out of 10 will be like what we call a sneezer, like a real influencer. One head of a salon I brought in, and I told these guys, I said, look, you can do my boot camp. It was like 60 quid a month at the time. It's like, you guys can have it for like 30 quid a month, because I know, you know, if you love it, then you're going to help me get referrals. I said as well, if you help me if you give me someone's phone number, because I know the value of that phone number, I'll give you £20 for every successful person that signs up. I'll give them a 2-week free trial as a gift from you. So I'll reach out and you can warm the introduction for me if you like. So I said, bring a list in of all the ladies you know off the top of your head, friends, family, clients, whatever, who you think would enjoy a free trial as a gift from you. And if anyone signs up with me on 60 quid a month, I'll give you 20 quid commission. One of these, you know, let's say out of 10 hairdressers, like 6 of them brought me like 1 or 2 numbers. Yeah. But they stayed as clients. They made me some money. A couple more get you a handful of numbers. And then one lady, she came in the next day with a list of 20 phone numbers. She's like, here's 20 girls that I know. I've told them all you're awesome and you're going to call them up on my behalf. I signed up 6 of those people that week. Went back to the hairdresser. I was like, here's, you know, nearly 200 quid in cash from me. So your entire like next 4 months is basically paid for.
Nice.
Like that's how fast it can happen when you do that stuff.
Yeah, no, definitely. No, it's great. So hopefully this has given a lot of value to someone listening to this, and there's plenty there that they can, you know, hopefully people will watch this back a couple of times and make some notes and sort of get some things implemented. Have you got anything else that you feel that you need to add to this, or have you got anywhere that we can send people if they want to contact you directly, or is it okay if they can comment underneath this and ask any questions?
Yeah, by all means, I'm sure you'll have questions. So comment below and ask, and I can get tag me in it so I can come back and answer it for you. And then I'll drop a link as well. You'll see a link somewhere where I do have limited spots each week for like, I'll do like a 30, 45-minute consult. If you are interested in coming up with the right offer, the ads, the sales funnel process, and you want me to diagnose what you're already doing and see where the gaps are and how to improve it. Or if you just want to get set up in the fastest way and know what to do, I do have like maybe 5 or 6 time slots a week. It's quite limited because I'm quite busy with things, but on the side, I do offer a few time slots for free, where you can check out the link, see if there's a time if you want to book in, and it'll just be a free consult where I can walk through all that with you. And if you do decide you do want my help after to do more of it with you, then we can talk about that. I have some options, but no pressure to buy anything. I'm more doing this just because I can help out other trainers. I mean, our gyms we're using this on 7 gyms every day right now. So, I mean, it makes no difference to me at the end of the day, but if we can help out more trainers, because I know what it was like 10 years ago, not knowing any of this stuff, being afraid to put £5 a day on ads. Now each of our gyms puts down 50 to 100 quid a day each. But there was a time I didn't want to put £5 a day in because I didn't have a clue what I was doing. And I know I wasted so many months on just trying to make organic work, but having no system in place.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't wish that on anyone today. So if I can just help shortcut someone's success, as long as you're a great coach and can get results, that's the main thing, then I can kind of help you get the rest of the way.
Yeah, and that's what, we said this just before I hit record, didn't we? Like, unfortunately, in this day and age, it doesn't matter how good a coach you are, it's what the training providers don't teach you. You get a certificate, but what actually gets you clients is this sort of thing. You can be the best coach in the world, but if you can't get your message out there and your advertising on point, no one's going to ever know it. And there's too many good people leaving the industry each year because they're not nailing down the clients that they deserve. So things like this will massively help. And if you can go away and implement a couple of things that you've heard today, you're doing better than flipping I did when I first started. If it wasn't for the fact that 20 years ago, Facebook wasn't even around when I first started. So if it wasn't for the fact that I could go and chat to people on the gym floor and make a lot of connections, but now, like, those little small connections that you're making should be done alongside things like Facebook ads and other bits and pieces. So, with the best of both worlds, you should be killing it. But again, if anyone's got any questions, drop them underneath this video. And Justin has already said that he's happy to jump in and answer anything. And if we ask nicely, he might even come back again.
Yeah, sure. No problem. I'd love to.
Cool. Well, I'm going to leave it there. You go and enjoy the sunshine over there. And thank you very much again for your time, Justin. And I will chat to you soon.
Thanks, Carl. I'll see you soon.
Cheers.